Hello, I'm Ian from Clarity Classical Pilates, and today's class is going to be all about stretching and strengthening tight hips. Let's get started by lying down on our mat. Bring each knee into the chest. Pull your stomach in towards the floor, towards the mat. Broaden the chest and the shoulders. And try and have each knee as wide as the shoulder. So no narrow knees on this. You can take them nice and wide. Heels are pressing together, toes are apart in a little V stance shape. And as you pull your knees into the chest, feel for your tailbone as it lifts off from the mat. What we're going to work on in this first exercise is being able to use our hip flexors to pull our knees into the chest without curling or tucking our tailbone up off of the mat. So you can start by pulling the stomach in and lengthening the tailbone long and out towards the floor and away from the body. And as you do that, you're going to pull the knees into the chest, creating a co-contraction movement. Once you've got a feel for that, we'll add to it by lifting the chin to the chest and reaching the arms out at hip length for a modified 100. Pumping the arms up and down, you're going to keep the knees pulling in towards the shoulders as the tailbone reaches away and in towards the mat, lengthening your spine. And once that feels comfortable, you can play around with starting to lengthen the legs long and straight. An experiment here. Find a couple different places that work for you. The higher up you take the legs, typically for tighter hips, the harder it's going to be. The lower the legs go, the easier on the hips, but the harder it's going to work the stomach and the back muscles. So find a length, find a height that really works for both the stomach engagement and for the hip engagement. And you'll keep pumping and breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, out 2, 3, 4, 5, pumping the arms, pulling the stomach in, lengthening the tailbone, lengthening the crown of the head away, and you'll pull the knees in and lower the head. Take a nice deep breath in. Give a gentle pull of the knees. The tailbone can release gently from the mat, lifting up, curling just a little bit. And we'll go into the next exercise, single leg circles, with the emphasis being on really opening that hip abductor muscle. You can start by lifting the right leg up and rotating the hip open. Pull the stomach in, and I like to imagine my leg as a windshield wiper, swiping across the body and around and up. Swipe across, get all the bugs and debris off of your windshield, and around and up. And across, around and 3. Across, around and 4. Let's do one more time, really pulling that leg as far across as you can. Reverse. And the goal here with the reversal is as we go to the outside, you're only going so much so that you can keep your 2 hip bones perfectly still and engaged. The leg is going just enough out and then across. Out, pull it across. Bend the knee in, give it a nice little stretch, chin to the chest. As the knee pulls into the opposite shoulder, you're going to lengthen your left leg as long as you can, stretching out in opposite directions. Take a nice deep breath, and we'll switch sides, bringing the left leg up to the sky, nice and straight, rotate it open, and you're going to wipe your windshield wiper across and across, around, and 2. 3 more times, and then you'll reverse. And reverse 5 times. Out, across, and 2. Out, across, and 3. The body is perfectly still except for the left leg rotating out, down, and around, and up. Pull the knee into the chest. Give a nice oppositional stretch as you bend the knee in. The other leg is straightening and lengthening out on the mat, the tailbone pressing long towards your heel. And up next, we're going to do the single leg stretch and the single straight leg stretch. 2 exercises that really work on both the strength and flexibility of our hip flexors in two different ways. Starting with the single leg stretch, bring your chin to the chest, both hands onto your right leg as you extend the left leg long and pull that right leg in and switch. Pull, pull, switch. Pull, pull, switch. Pull, pull, switch. And just like with the 100 earlier, you can adjust the height of the leg. The higher it is, the harder on the hip flexibility. The lower, the more it challenges the stomach. Last time, pull, pull. Both knees in and rest the head. Give another nice wide-kneed pull towards each shoulder, the tailbone gently tucking up away from the mat. Breathing deep. We'll get ready for the single straight leg stretch. Chin to the chest, look into the navel, both legs reach along for the sky, both hands onto one leg as the other strains down towards the ground, and you gently traction and pull the straight leg long. Release the leg and switch. And switch. If you can, try and get the entirety of your hand around the lifted leg, really pulling and lengthening it long. Open the hands and release it down and let the leg come up. So the hands aren't reaching for the leg is reaching for your hands. A couple more times on each side. Pull, pull. And it's totally okay if you can't go super high. As you can see right now, I'm reaching for my thigh. If you're more flexible, you can go higher up to the calf, the ankles, or the toes. Do what works for you. And bring both knees in and rest the head. Up next, the spine stretch forward. You can come to sitting, find your sits bones. And if you happen to have one, I like to use a block to sit on. Otherwise, you can bend or soften your knees to alleviate some of the pressure on your low back and tight hip flexors. Stack your posture over your two sits bones. Dip the chin to the chest, and you're going to articulate down, forward, and in. Scooping the stomach and rolling back up. The temptation here is to go down and forward, creating as much of a hamstring stretch as we can, but the goal is to really scoop inwards, creating a deep C curve stretch. Let's do this one more time. Chin to the chest. Pull the stomach in towards the spine and dive the top of the head in towards the inner thighs. And rolling one vertebrae back up to tall posture. Reach the arms up for arm circles. Keep the tall postures. The arms challenge your posture. No slumping in the low back. Try and stay tall. Let's do this 2 more times, circling up and around. And up and around. Last time, reach for the sky. Take the arms straight out to the side for the saw. Keeping that nice flat back tall posture you work so hard to maintain during the circles. You're going to twist to the side and reach forward and pulse. Pull back, come center, twist to the left, tall posture, and keep that tall posture as you reach forward. And by doing so, you're going to be working on your hip flexors rather than your hamstrings. So this is all a continuation of the same movement, the same exercise. The name of the game here is the hips. So stay disciplined, sacrifice a little bit of range of motion in order to really isolate these muscles that we're working on. Last time to each side. Final time, twist, flat back and reach forward and saw. 2, 3, pull back. And rest the arms down. Great job. Let's now come around onto our stomach for the single leg kicks. Wide shoulders and chest. Your hip bones planted firmly in the ground. You're going to kick your right heel into your seat and switch. Kick, kick, switch. Kick, 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 kick. The goal here is isolating the leg from the rest of the body. So as it bends and kicks, the rest of the body stays perfectly still. Your two hip bones aren't rocking from side to side. Stomach's pulled in to stabilize. Couple more times on each side. Lengthen down and sit back in a rounded child pose position. Stretch your fingers away from your body. Tuck the tailbone between the legs, curving the spine gently. And now you're going to walk to one side with your hands. Give yourself a full body side stretch. Your ribs pulling apart gently like an accordion. Breathing into the stretch, and you'll walk to the other side, stretching the other side of the ribs. Your tailbone is still lengthening away from you. And come centered. One last breath. And you're going to roll up through your posture and come to lie on either side for the side kicks. Stacking the shoulders over one another, the hips over one another, heels together, toes apart. You're going to rotate your hip flexor open so your toes are going to point up towards the sky. Flex the foot as you kick forward and reach back. And similarly to what we were just working on in the single leg kick, try and keep the movement isolated to just the leg and below the hip flexor. The shoulders aren't rocking back and forth. They're perfectly still and stabilized as the leg kicks backwards and forwards, challenging the hip abductor muscle. You may have a little bit less of a range of motion than you're used to. That's exactly what we're looking for here. Stay disciplined. And now center, rotate the hip back open again, and you're going to point the foot up to the sky, flex the foot down. Point up, flex down. Only going as high up as you can keep the hip rotated open. So as soon as you start to feel your toes want to curve back in, you know you've gone too high. Last time, and down. Circles. Circle around and one. Around and two. Keeping the leg rotating open, working and isolating that hip abductor. Reverse. The rest of the body is still. Good, and now we'll switch sides. Do it all over again. Stacking hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder, rotating the foot up as you reach forward and back. Noticing any differences from side to side. Is one leg tighter than the other, looser than the other, stronger or weaker? Forward and back. Forward. Reach and lengthen back. Stay disciplined for the last couple ones. You've got this. Rotate that hip open. Kick forward. Reach back. Forward. Last time back. And center. Point up. Flex down. Point to the sky, open that hip, and down. Lengthen the crown of the head, keep the gaze forward. It's tempting to look towards the feet, but you don't need to look at them. You know what's going on down there. Keep looking forward, keep the leg and hip isolated from the rest of the body, and circle. Around and back. Around, open the hip and back. Reverse. 3 times. 2. Last time. 3. And center. All right, you can now come to kneeling, and we're going to finish with an exercise called the chest expansion. Taking your knees and feet hip width apart, reaching your arms straight out at shoulder height. You're going to inhale the arms back. Hold the breath as you look over each shoulder. Hold the breath as you look forward, and slowly exhale the arms back up. Again, inhale deep, grow taller as you pull the arms back. Hold and look over to the left. Hold and look over to the right. hold center, and exhale 2 more times. Inhale, holding the breath, pull the stomach in, grow tall. Exhale, last time. Holding, and exhale. Lower the arms, and you are all done for today. Great work. If you enjoyed this workout, please give the video a like, comment below with any future classes you would be interested in, and subscribe to Clarity Classical Pilates. I'll see you next time on the mat.